Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hope, Hearing Other People's Experiences. And I'm so happy to introduce my really good friend, Christine, who is an art dealer, and she's come to talk about her new way of life, which is very important because not everyone identifies like I do as an addict or an alcoholic or anything like that. There's such a thing as gray area drinkers, and I'm just going to ask you to spill.
Where do you want me to begin?
Well, so tell us a bit about what's your definition of a grey area drinker?
I would say that a grey area drinker, and this is new to me as well, is someone who is not indifferent to alcohol. So someone who maybe drinks now and then, and by that I mean every couple of months, or something like that. And then in the middle, you've got what is far more than 50 shades of grey, many shades of grey. People who drink almost habitually, maybe not without realizing that they're doing so. Socially, many people, and I say that with no judgment. And then at the extreme end, we have addicts.
Yeah,
lovely people like you. In the middle are so many different shades of grey.
Yeah, and so I think that's really important because a lot of people, I think, are categorized like that if they knew it, if they knew there was a word.
Yeah.
So you found a new way of life recently. I've known Christine for 8 months, 9 months, something like that. And the transformation has been like immense. Not that you weren't nice before, but just that it's really nice to see somebody who knows now what to do about their problems. It's like, tell us a little bit about finding this sober club, Janie Lee Grace method.
Yeah, that was a game changer, and we'll go back, but we'll go forward from here. I reached a point, a year ago I gave up drinking, and that was very much a year of abstention. I thought I knew that I was okay, that what I was doing, why I was doing it, but it swiftly became clear that there was a sense of lack and not a sense of gain about all of this. Mm-hmm. Long story short, I came to a point and a crossroads where someone recommended to me that I reach out to Janie. And I'd heard of her, but I wasn't aware of her technique. And I went to meet her for coffee, and the game changed there and then.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've been following this method for a couple of months, is that right?
Yeah, 4 months.
4 months, yes.
Yeah.
And you've kind of distilled it into your own version of this method, and you call it no crave.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people watching that think, oh my God, how nice would that be not to crave alcohol or whatever compulsive behavior that they're exhibiting.
Yeah.
So no crave, it's kind of your own sort of funky little twist. Could you tell us a little bit about, your history with compulsive behavior?
Retrospectively, I realised it started very young, probably around the age of 9, when my family situation changed dramatically. So went from a place of probably, what I consider to be privilege, to a place of what I now call lack. And as a child, you struggle to compute things that are beyond your control. Mm. And so my journey and my first resort with this sense of lack in me was to control my eating. With that came various forms of restriction, but obviously it mutated over time. I felt a sense of lack in terms of opportunity, in terms of connection with my peers, because suddenly I was different to them. And the only thing that, so natural, so many people do it, the only thing I could control was my consumption of food. So it started as one thing, mutated into many other things, and then it turned on me, as so many of these compulsive behaviours do as time progresses.
Yeah, because it would have been destroying your body, your mind, everything.
Yeah.
And it's great that only recently you've discovered that is all connected. Drinking to excess, eating disorders, anything, using gambling, sex, it's the same monster, isn't it?
Yeah.
So could you please tell me a little bit about this really interesting concept that you said to me the other day about alcohol being a thief?
Yes. Alcohol, I realise, is a thief of most everything that makes life beautiful. It's thief of sleep. You may not realize it, even if you drink, small amounts. It upsets your sleep cycle. It's a thief of legitimate, authentic joy. Like, you think you're in the moment, but actually you're becoming further disconnected from it, further disconnected from yourself.
Yeah.
We are sold a dream that this liquid in a glass brings greater joy, that it fills gaps, that it tells you are there in any given moment. It can steal money on a basic level. It's in whatever form or to whatever extent you're drinking. It steals true connection, both with the people around you, the people that you're in the moment with, or the moment itself, like the beauty around you in that given moment, that celebratory, the reason you're there.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that, because we're told that all it does is brings more of that joy. So you are disconnecting both from yourself, because it does change you even in that moment, not always for the worse. But then the people that you're with, is like a veil comes over. And you can only really see this when you're outside of it. But for me, authenticity is so important. And I realize now that drinks were stealing that from me.
Yeah, so I think that's a really great explanation. And I think any compulsive behavior can take on that task of being a thief. So it's really interesting. I remember when I gave up as well, when I stopped drinking, rather,
Nice.
no lack here. So when I stopped drinking, I was just baffled, right, at how little I had in common with the people around me, And it's crazy, because when I encounter somebody who has a problem with my not drinking, I always find that eventually they will realize that they have their own issues with alcohol. Mm-hmm. It's none of their business what I drink and don't drink. Mm-hmm. So I've got here, I don't know if you still want to do this, but could you please tell me the story of your wedding day?
Yeah, the other day I realized that this is actually one of the only moments that perhaps I would attribute to regret, or use that term, because I don't ever want to be negative about any of this. But the moment that I woke up on my wedding day, I'd had a couple of drinks the night before, nothing excessive, but I woke up that day and my makeup artist turned up and she sat me down. And all the while I'm staring at my beautiful wedding dress and I'm with all of my bridesmaids, my best friends, my people. And the running commentary through my head was, I will be able to enjoy this. I will be able to immerse myself in this once I've had a drink. Mm-hmm. On my wedding day, the most beautiful day of my life, the day that I married my soulmate. Yeah. That's really sad. I feel sorry for that girl.
It is sad.
Yeah. So that's a defining moment.
Yeah. So that was probably the first time that you took note of it.
Yeah.
And that's really good. I have a lot of things like that at the forefront, just in case my silly little head will walk out the door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we were talking the other day about the 4 pillars of recovery, I think. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned nutrition is very important. Could you tell me a bit about that?
Well, last year when I wasn't drinking, I thought that my nutrition was all in place and that it was serving me. It turns out that little tweaks that Janie has taught me are super important. It's person-to-person basis, but I wasn't eating enough protein. And critically, I had not been eating breakfast for a good 10 years. I would eat it either towards lunchtime or I would not eat the right things, or it wouldn't be something I'd made from scratch, so on and so forth. The first thing that Janie said to me is, we're going to do this in this way. This will be your founding, your non-negotiable, basically.
Oh, yeah, you said that, yeah.
3 meals a day, such a useful term. You're non-negotiable. You're going to eat 3 meals a day. You're going to make those from scratch if you want to, if you can. And it's going to include loads of protein. Do it. Off you go, out into the world. There's me thinking, oh, this is weird. This has nothing to do with what I came to her for, but I'm just going to go with this. And lo and behold, very, very quickly, I realized that my emotional levels, my energy levels were, flattening out. And I was like, oh my gosh, such a simple hack.
Who knew?
Who knew? And And then you get really excited and you get really into the whole process of like making your food from scratch and including all this beautiful stuff.
I love it because do you know what? You and I grew up in a time that was very unkind to women, I think. Like the heroin chic, the skinny look with the big plastic boobs. You know, it was very, in my family, it was rewarded when I would lose some weight. You know, not everyone, but like my mum's mum, for instance, she was like beautiful, right? But she had a few facelifts and tucks and, you know, whatever. And I remember she came around for lunch one day and I'd been very ill. I'd had like a tummy bug or something. She's like, Georgie, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it because you look amazing.
Oh my goodness.
That was the first time that I noticed, I get more love if I'm thin.
Interesting.
And so not eating breakfast for me was a way of life because I thought, well, that's just extra calories that I don't really need. I'm not that hungry. But it makes perfect sense to keep your mood stable. Your blood sugar needs to be stable.
Yeah, so basic, so simple, but so effective.
Yeah, and every voice in my head was screaming against me starting to do that.
Yeah.
Did you experience that?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
The first couple of days, I was like, this is really going to upset my day.
Yeah.
Oh, the irony.
Yeah, exactly.
It's only added to it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, mental.
And then stress management. So triggers and whatnot, you know, opportunities to check yourself.
Yeah, breathing. I mean, I've got a tattoo on my arm for that exact reason, which I got many years ago. And I never evidently read it.
And now you're reading it.
And now I'm reading it like a book in a library. And I forget to breathe. I'm very high energy and I get very passionate and very excited very, very easily. That can very easily tip over into exhaustion, of course. Breathing. If there is a moment that I encounter where I'm thinking I am losing sight of myself, I will breathe very deeply and quietly and go back into myself where all of the answers are. And then you get this very, very quickly, you will get a sense of perspective. I'm learning about breathwork through a friend of mine called Amy. It's something that's very, very new to me, but that's something I do. The other thing for me that is huge and a tagline, and people say this word all the time, but the reframing thing.
Yes, I was going to ask you that next.
Yeah, there you go.
So reframing, please enlighten us.
I think stress, automatically you go into fight or flight, don't you? So you are a rabbit in headlights. All you can think and feel is what you are experiencing in that moment that feels like danger. When you are able to flip the script and be like, this is a moment that in 10 years' time I will either have forgotten or will be completely inconsequential.
Yeah.
You're like, this is cool. This is fine. This thing that is happening, this person that is here, this situation that is tricky, all of this is within my power to control it. But just remember who you are in this moment. And in this moment, you are a person that cares, a person that knows what they're talking about. And if they don't, they can be candid about that. Authenticity. It's such a hard word and it can be tricky to manage because sometimes some of us don't know what our authentic self is. And also authenticity can be quite scary for the person that you're engaging with or the situation doesn't require it. Yes.
So like, for example, if I were to be in a meeting of like a production meeting of this or a film or anything I was working on, like if I perceive something to be an attack on me, automatically I want, first of all, to go to defensiveness, okay? And I catch myself now. I noticed I was doing it yesterday, right? Okay. And then I thought, that's the reframing thing could be actually okay. I could probably use some of that now. And but you know, it's the habit of a lifetime. It's going to take a while to break and make a new one.
Yeah, it's all brain training.
Yeah, and it's. I like the way that you describe it. You go so detailed and intellectual. Whereas me, it's like, I know I feel crap. I know I feel good. I know I feel crap or whatever.
It's what I'm actually weirdly good at. If I can get into the semantics or the detail and make a little story for myself with the right words and the right feelings, it's easier to fantasize my way out of it.
Yes. And semantics. So for me, I identify as an alcoholic, addict, nutter,
Lovable nutter.
Yeah. And for some people, you know, that word keeps them out of recovery. So semantics you've found to be very important.
Yeah, this is a recent discovery. And one that's absolutely critical to who I am. I've always loved writing. I've always loved words. For a long time, and indeed, most notably last year, I was stuck because I didn't fit into either the sort of compulsive drinker, nor did I fit into AA, which I tried a couple of times, or rehab. That was never an option for me. It didn't resonate with who I am, like, at all. And I just thought there has to be another way. And then suddenly I'm reading words that I'm writing down about myself, or words that are being bandied about the place, and they are hitting me and bouncing off. And I'm like, there has to be a different way to describe how I'm feeling or who I am or whatever. The second I met Janie, actually, she was like, you don't have to use words like that. And most notably, she was like, you are not always going to be in recovery. We're going to get you recovered. That was the day that almost makes me so emotional I could cry, that changed my life forever. You know, there is hope.
Yes, hope.
There is hope, yeah.
Yes. And I think it's really important to just remember that, you know, like, I'm very tolerant of other people's methods of getting well. I want as many people to get well as possible. And I think a lot of people will identify with what you've just said a lot. Connection. So connection, I heard before in my little arena of recovery that connection is the opposite of addiction. But you could say connection is the opposite of being stuck. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, when I met Janie, she mentioned to me and kept dropping hints, and I was, you know, at the time wondering why. She was like, get connected with us at the Sober Club, which is a Facebook group, right?
Yes.
So much more than a Facebook group. So much more. The irony is that I am a person that feeds off connection.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's my Uber driver or someone that walks into the gallery, just like anything and anyhow, I will want to connect.
That's why you're good at what you do.
It's certainly why I love it. And Janie was like, you know, come join us on the Sober Club group. And I was like, yeah, putting that to the back of, you know, way down the list. And then I'm like, what am I doing? If Janie knows what she's talking about, I'm going to do this. I joined the Facebook group, fast forward an hour, I'm like, this is epic.
Yeah.
Suddenly there are people on there that are ahead of me, behind me, but with me the whole way. And you get to give people your bit of hope.
Yeah.
They get to give you their bit of hope. And it is that was it for me. I was like, I need to go out in the world and do more of this.
Yeah.
Like, this is it for me.
And then you started developing No Crave.
Yes.
Which is, I guess, a subsidiary of Janie's method, or is it your own twist?
I think it's my own twist, but then again, like, the beauty of this whole journey, this whole thing, especially the last sort of 5 weeks, has been that I have no idea where this is going, right? This is the moment that my husband, who is sort of a photographer and image specialist, developed this avatar for me based on Grimes, one of my favorite artists.
Wow.
Of like an elfin fairy, but it was a photograph of me made into this avatar, which I now call it.
I love it.
Yeah. Then I had like a little character and a platform to go out there and like talk about the other bit of me, the almost more crucial bit of me that I wanted to share and put out there. And I was not going to create this Instagram group straight away, right?
No.
This was meant to be in like a couple of months. I woke up one morning, I was like, screw it, I'm just going to do this now. And the rest is already history.
That sounds like empowerment to me. Yeah.
Incredibly empowering. Like, all the internet is judgment if you frame it like that.
Oh, God, I know.
But who cares? There's a message that we need to send. There's a safe place that we need to offer up and open the doors of. And now, even in my small, tiny little way, No Crave is helping me do that, and hopefully it can help other people.
I think it already is helping other people. I mean, talk a little bit about, like, there's plenty of other things for people to drink than alcohol.
Hell yeah.
Like,
the notion of the real drink.
Yeah. So, like, what you were saying earlier, like, we are given this lie that, like, champagne, celebrate, drown your sorrows, whiskey. wine civilized. You know, it's
Yes.
I never looked civilized drinking wine. I can tell you that for nothing.
Not more than one.
No, that wouldn't touch the sides. Anyway, yeah. So the no crave method, it's a new development of yours, and we'll add some links to the end of the episode if you like.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah,
I'd love
cool.
that.
Who are you appealing to?
I'm appealing to people that really want to look forward rather than back. We're talking about removing the sense of lack entirely and only, as Janie says, embracing the gains. You are not giving anything up. Your life begins the moment I became alcohol free. Right? I am free. The key word is free. We don't even really need to include the alcohol, right? It's a subsidiary thing.
Yeah.
If you fill your life with so much good, so much love, so much connection, so much freedom and authenticity, there is no room for, in inverted commas, bad.
Yeah.
There is no room for that darkness to creep in. And if it does creep in, and it will, because life happens, you've got your armed, you've got your arsenal. There is no allure anymore.
Yeah. So if life throws you a shit sandwich, you're ready.
Yeah.
You're ready
Just
for
put
that.
it in a lunchbox.
And you don't. I was thinking maybe like a tennis racket.
Yeah, bat it away. Yeah, there are many ways to do this, but I just think the thing that's changed my life entirely is that the cravings have gone. In 5 months, I've been on this journey for 10 years, but in 5 months, I am totally different to how I was last year.
Yeah.
The lack of alcohol is the same, but the person is different.
Yeah, so I've had periods of being a dry drunk, I call it, which is like you haven't got all this knowledge, but you know that I knew that if I had a drink, I would not be able to stop. So it was torture. It was like I can't have peace, but I also can't have a drink, and it's miserable. Yeah. And there are other ways of doing it, and my way isn't the only way. Your way isn't the only way, and that's what it's all about. You know, it's about empowering people to find a way that resonates with them. And I know that the word addict and alcoholic is an issue for a lot of people, actually. It keeps them from getting well. Yeah. So I think that what you're doing is very, very important work.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. You said something about your coping mechanisms turned into superpowers. Yeah. I like this. You got to tell me.
It's just been so liberating. Every day is a new discovery. But I realized that for so long, for so many reasons, I'd been struggling and thinking that there was something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with the liquid. There's nothing wrong with my friends. They all seem fine. When I realized that all of the hardship, all of the pain, all the tears, all the just the sense of always just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and even, you know, it was so tiring. Mm-hmm. And when I now look back and I think about everything that I'm feeling and doing and putting out there, scary as it is sometimes, if I hadn't been through all of this, I wouldn't be here. I would not be doing this. 2 years ago, if you told me I've been doing this, I would have been like, you're crazy. I'm only extroverted when I'm drinking. I could never do this without that. I need a crutch.
Yeah.
It's the polar opposite.
Yeah.
It's the polar opposite. All of this has been worth it. That's why I say I have no regrets, right?
Yeah.
The wedding day is merely
brought you here.
noting that's really sad and feeling sorry for that person that I was, right?
Yeah.
Now we're looking back and being like, how epic it is that I've been there and done that.
You're using it as a valuable currency for your new life, I think. Exactly. You know, I really want to forget a lot of things, but at the same time, I'm also with you on that, because it's like, if they didn't happen, I probably wouldn't be well, right? Might even be dead. Who knows? Yeah. But the thing is, so I know what like several different recovery programs look like for people. My one is very specific. There's something I do in the morning, there's something I do at night, and then it's the constant all day reminding yourself of like, oh no, that's their stuff, not mine, and you know, like, I'm not going to buy into that codependence or whatever it is. So what does just give me an example of like, what's your program looking like? Like when you wake up, do you write some gratitude? Like what how does it look?
To be honest, at this stage, it is moving, getting into my body. I'm such an energetic person. Again, who knew? I'm just like so rarely tired now. So, because of everything that I'm doing, it's all feeding into this wonderful sort of ball of energy. So for me, I don't look at my phone for the first 15 minutes. I talk to my husband, and inevitably laughter comes. And then I will either do yoga or go running, right? It just it's what I need right now. And it allows me to get into my body and out of my head. And so often, so much will happen in my head when I do that. Like suddenly these light bulbs go off.
Inspiration. Yeah.
1,000%. I need that because I have very high energetic frequency. But there are healthy and non-healthy levels of that.
Oh, yeah.
So the running and the yoga just get me to where...
Get you balanced.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Well, so that's the morning sorted. So what other things? So you definitely prepare all your food and you enjoy it and you're getting creative with your food. I've seen the pictures of your food. Ooh, I'm going to come round.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yes. So what else is sort of a daily thing for you that keeps you in the wonderful headspace that you seem to be in?
It's getting stuff out onto paper. I'm doing a lot of drawing just now. I don't even know what I'm going to draw before I draw it, but just like drawing illustrative sketches. My father was an architect and I love fine liner pens and all these sort of alien landscapes seem to come out. That's wonderful. And you can do that anywhere. Even if you're not someone who draws, you can do that. Just get something onto paper. In that same vein, write stuff down. In that moment, pause. Any given moment, the pause is everything. Again, another thing Janie taught me. In that moment, write down your thoughts. It's going to be so hard at first. It is scary how little of our thoughts we actually recognize and can articulate. Yeah. But once you start writing, you'll get used to the notion of getting closer and closer to what you're thinking in that moment. That will help you to acknowledge why you're doing the things that you're doing, whether it's sipping a coffee, going for a vape. I'm a victim of that, for sure. But the pause is everything, and you can do that anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah, because I didn't know about that, and it's so simple. Yeah. Like, just stop, because I can get busy doing a whole lot of nothing, right? Yeah. I can zoom, 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 like a blue-ass fly, with no real productivity at all. Yeah. And I think sitting still for people like me and you is actually rather hard. Oh my God, yeah. So I guess it's nice to have permission to be like, actually, you're allowed to pause.
You're so right.
Because I always felt like I'm inconveniencing people if I don't get it done now. Yeah. And it's like, but I'm not doing anything.
No, exactly. This is just wasted energy. The pause is everything to me. I need that.
Yeah.
That's the thing I need.
Gather yourself. And also, I guess it would prevent you from saying things that would lead you into a shame spiral.
Yeah, definitely.
Because was it you that said that shame was the lowest vibration?
No, it wasn't me. I wish it was.
But it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Because it feels horrible.
God, yeah. It's the worst feeling. It is the worst feeling. And the whole thing perpetuates. The longer that any kind of issue with any kind of external factor goes on, the deeper and deeper you fall into shame. And since I was like 16, I've thought that I was a bad person. Yeah. Like, legitimately thought I was a bad person. I realised actually I'm just really sensitive. Yeah. So sensitive.
Yeah, you are. And I love that about you. So what's in your sort of upcoming future, present type? So you're an art dealer.
Yes.
You have fantastic taste. And let's hear a little bit about, just a tiny bit about your day-to-day. Like how do you describe your role? Is it like you choose things or you show things off, or I don't know. I've always been really curious.
Our role is so multifaceted. It's insane. We're like swans paddling manically under the surface, and on the surface, hopefully, we look like we know what we're doing. But it is very multifaceted. For me, the core of everything for me is the product, which is the artwork, the paintings. They make me feel things that other objects do not, right? Yeah. So powerful. My art collection is very, very important to me. You can get rid of everything else. I need my art. But on a day-to-day basis, it's about welcoming people into this space, into this journey. No one doesn't have taste. Everyone has taste. Doesn't matter if you agree with it or not.
Yeah, it's subjective.
It's totally subjective, and it's incredibly powerful. Yeah. This is how I build my connections with the people that I meet on a daily basis. This is how I have clients that come back to me again and again and again, by their own volition. we bond through artwork. It's powerful. It keeps people coming back, and it's can become compulsive.
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
buying process is like that. The future for me, I don't know what the future looks like at all.
You okay
I love
with that?
and I'm totally okay with that. I love that, in fact. But there's a place for every bit of my life that currently exists to coexist.
Yeah, it's all working out.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of conditioned to worry about everything and fear. Mm-hmm. And really, everything turned out fine because we're still alive.
Yeah.
And we have somewhere to live, and we have friends. And like, if I would have known that I would be sitting here fine, like 2-3 years ago, I wouldn't have had to worry about it. I could have just like been present.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to see like the switch is flipped in your head. Yeah. And I think that you get that you're all right.
I feel like I'm thriving.
Yeah.
It is crazy. This is better than any champagne I've ever drunk.
Yeah.
This is better than any run I've ever been on. This is like a feeling this is joy.
Joy.
It's transient. It shouldn't necessarily be permanent. But I can feel with every bone in my body that I'm on the right path right now.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I can tell. You are on the right path, because when I met you, you weren't drinking, but I could tell that you were a little bit unbalanced.
Still fighting.
Yeah. And I so wanted to give you what I had.
Bless you.
And but the thing is, not everyone's going to be like me. Like, some people are going to identify as a grey area drinker, so that's why I think this term needs to be more used, because I'd never heard it till you said it.
Wow.
And yeah, because not everybody falls under that category of alcoholic.
No.
I definitely do. But it's really interesting, like the wording that you use makes such a difference.
It's the core of everything that I do from here.
Yeah.
And all I want to do is delve deeper into that. And in fact, I was speaking indirectly to Jolene Park on Instagram yesterday, and she noted that Harvard are doing and have done research on this specific thing and about how terminology affects brain chemistry. There's got to be something in that.
Yeah.
In fact, there is definitely something in that, as she said, like, but I want to explore that more and more and more, because that could really be, maybe that's my thing.
Well, I'm really liking the scientific approach, so it's the neurology of it that's really interesting. And, how do you form an opinion or a habit, and how do you react to it? It baffles me, but I'm very interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It baffled me until I deep dived. This is what's getting me up in the morning.
Yeah.
I realize how little I know and how much I want to know more about everything. I'm just so psyched to learn more and more and more and more.
Open-mindedness is everything, isn't it?
Yeah, growth mindset.
Growth mindset. So you are growing, like you are learning and growing and thriving, you said?
Yep.
So what is the most, off the top of your head, like what is the most important thing that you've learnt lately? Or give me a top 3.
Most important thing I've learned is I am enough.
You are enough.
I know what that means now. People have said it for years. You see it all over memes everywhere. Never knew what that meant. I am enough for whatever that might be, for whatever I'm trying to achieve. Like, I am enough in this moment right now. And that's just so peaceful. It's such a peaceful feeling.
It really is.
Like, you don't need to try all of the stuff that you piled in to add to whatever it was you were trying to build was already there.
Yeah.
There was no lack in the first place.
Yeah, I know. It's a big con.
Yeah. It's a huge, it's crazy. It is crazy, but it is so easy to fall into this and fall into this trap. We're in a society of people that, very sadly, to greater or lesser extents, are numb to the fact that everything they have is right there.
Yeah.
And if it isn't, they can ask for help, but it doesn't need to come from an external substance.
Exactly. I used to think like, well, when I get that, then I can be happy. Yeah. And then I'd get it, and about 5 minutes later, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
It needed to be more, or it needed to come in a different color, or it wouldn't be satisfying anymore. Yeah. And that's the same mind that told me that when you get that, you'll be happy. Mm-hmm. And then it's like you get it, you're like, why did you get that? That was so stupid of you. What did you do that for? And when I realised that actually most people have these thoughts and I'm not insane, I realised, okay, maybe there's something in this whole recovery thing and maybe I should listen.
Yeah.
So the No Crave project, you're reaching out to people who don't identify like I do, like they're grey area drinkers and they want to. It's a positive program. It's like a growth thing.
Yeah. There is just so much to gain. You necessarily have to dive into a little bit of your past. Janie and I did that very, very early on, and yet there has been no need to really do it since.
Wow,
that's so telling.
Yeah,
because everything that we are adding in is providing so much self-perpetuating energy and happiness that I've almost like there is just no room for the bad behaviors in there anymore.
Yeah,
I'm not avoiding them. I'm no longer, I'm indifferent to being around the bad behaviors or the sort of perceived bad things.
Like booze.
Like booze, you know, and yet it just bounces off me. I'm like so sure in myself.
Yeah.
Now there is no sense. I keep coming back to it. There is no sense of lack in my life. The only sense of lack would be the lack of more info, the lack of more like opportunities to talk about this stuff.
Which is easily sorted and will be provided by the universe.
Yes. There's no rush.
No, exactly.
There's no rush.
I know, and we're taught like all of our lives. Come on, hurry up.
Yeah, where are you going?
Where are you going?
When are you getting there?
You need to go to school. You need to go to school. Oh, you forgot your bag. All that stuff. It's like from birth, really. We are under pressure, and like we're an inconvenience sometimes. Yeah. And I always feel like, what the heck am I rushing for? Really, if I'm not late, and I've done all my bit, then what are you fearful about? Stop it.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. It's an adage for a reason. It is not about the destination. It is so about the journey. We don't even know whether we're going to get to whatever that destination is, but the journey is the bit that enriches you.
Yeah.
That's the bit that pushes you.
Because forward. The destination would be like, well, when I get that, I can be happy.
Yeah.
And the process is like, well, actually, now's all right.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm healthy. I'm happy-ish sometimes.
It's cumulative stuff.
Yeah.
Happiness is not a state of being that is perpetual. You know, it is many, many cumulative, transitory moments. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to work a little bit to be a little bit happy.
Yeah,
so I'm not saying this is easy.
But do you know what? I used to think that I would get stuck in a feeling, like if I was in despair, I wouldn't be able to leave. I would be stuck in that feeling and live in it for the rest of my life. And then I learned that they change, they're transient, and like, who knew?
Yeah, we all have the power to change our mindset.
Yeah.
Just got to be inspired to do so. The key word being inspiration.
Yeah.
Janie inspired me. I hope I can go out and do the same now.
I think you will. And one more question. How do you think that this, like, compare your life before you had this program to now? What is the main things that you've noticed have changed? Your relationship with your husband, or your work, or just practical life stuff?
Everything has changed. Everything has changed. It's, as I say, this is early days, right? In some ways, it's 10 years in the making, but still early days. But I can say that everything is better. Painting my nails is better. Going on a run is better. Watering my plants is better. Eating is better. Breathing is better. It is literally everything. There is nothing that hasn't got better.
Wow. So it sounds like you've just become really present.
Yeah, in as much as someone as hyper as me can be present, I have become much more present. Very grateful to be where I am in this moment with you right now.
Me too. And if you'd like to learn more about the No Crave method, we will add some links at the bottom down there somewhere. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for coming and talking about this, because it's really important. And see you next time.